There we go. It started.
Cool.
So, yeah, I figured we'd do an introduction video on White Claw and what it stands for. Um, being that one of my favorite things that have recently come out has been OpenClaw, which is autonomously helping people run their businesses, their personal lives. Um, and we utilize it for my company, and it's been great, from building different certain agents from running production, running accounts payable, receivable, running sales management, being that these things can now self-reflect, self-heal, self-repair. They dream at night, which is just insane. And the dreaming is essentially like all the compounded work that has been done that you've worked on. It'll go back and reflect on it and think of something more visionary, further out with the things that I had to learn who you are and thinks a little further out. So
hmm
the main engine behind it is Claude. We utilize multiple agents, even ChatGPT as well. And so essentially to kind of reverse, give you an example, I have a construction company, and what it does for me is it runs the whole operation. So I have a working production. So essentially we assign a job to it, and it will build the purchase orders and work orders. It'll order a satellite image, and I'm a roofing and siding company, to be disclosed, but they'll order satellite image, and they'll actually do the measurements and build the purchase order, work order, and send the purchase order to the distributor, and it'll send the work order to the subcontractor, and then it'll make sure the subcontractor and the distributor connect at some point on delivering the job, delivering the materials, and then the subcontractor can out there to start. And then it handles the administrative stuff as a production manager as well. So to make sure the subcontractor is actually holding its insurance and has subcontractor agreements and so on. Then, once it schedules everything, it'll communicate that to the homeowner via email. And I do have the option via text. Right now, I just use email. And then it'll put it in the calendar and it'll invite all parties. So if there's a field manager or sales rep there, it'll update that as well. Now, when the invoices come in from both parties, it'll actually scan it and look at it, and it'll compare it based on what was sold, or AKA for us, it'd be insurance paperwork, making sure that the insurance company paid for it appropriately. And then it'll make sure that the subcontractor filed, what was there for a work order, not billing more and above and beyond. And then the same thing for the distributor to make sure that everything that we had ordered is, cross-checked, and then it punts it off to another agent, which is my accounts payable, accounts receivable, which is which is then it goes and manages it and moves it over to my QuickBooks, and it does another audit as well. So it's kind of going through both. So for me, when being that I'm in the crypto space, one of the things I noticed is that here I am. I have two payroll people that have been replaced. So now instead of paying a production manager or accounts payable receivable or essentially an administrative assistant or administrative or
hmm
an office manager, there's all different types of positions that cover that. I mean, today's wage, I mean, you need minimally $2,500 to $3,000 a week. So we're saving somewhere between five to $6,000 a week in business.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, it's huge. So for us, I look at it as like, I don't want to particularly replace a human being, being that, I do have some empathy to wanting having people work for me, or be able to catch a great wage and not be replaced by this type of tech. But also at the same time, for me, it's making sure that there isn't any mistakes. It just doesn't make mistakes. Now, there's a lot of
hmm
other people that depend on my business that can be affected by these mistakes when it comes to making financial mistakes, and that's important. So we also have a sales management and agent as well. And so when we chase storms, that's what we are. We're a storm chaser. When we chase storms, we um, get a hailstorm or windstorm hit a region, or a zip code, what we call it. And then as soon as that storm hits and there's a report, you immediately get that report. Now, my command center is called Sky, Stephen AI. We call her Sky. and so it's scanning throughout the night. And when there's a storm reported, it immediately go start a social media campaign. So it'll actually get a hold of a company called Dope Marketing and start setting up direct mailers based on zip code. It will start texting those areas. So scrape the internet, scrape the data from multiple different websites, your local tax, department, and grab that information from there. It'll start advertising immediately on Facebook. It will make the content and put it out there. It'll A/B test it, so it'll make sure that it can check and see which ones work the best. So immediately goes right into full blown, campaign, and the same thing with Google. And we even have it integrated into Neighbors app as well. So um,
Did you say this will send out direct mailers?
they will send out direct mailers. Yep. Immediately.
Wow.
So we linked in with a service called Dope Marketing, and they have a API access, and it immediately drop it in those zip codes. Or you could have it. Particularly when hail and wind hits an area, it doesn't mean it hit all the zip code, but it only hit a portion of it. But it could set it up for me where I can get an email and it'll say, "Hey, do you want to draw it out on this map real quick before we send it out?" So there's multiple different steps you can do. Particularly, I'll probably just the first batch go out, hit the whole zip code as a whole. Um, and then once we get boots on the ground, we're able to kind of narrow it down to what blocks and how far out and spread it and so on. So
How
um
much how much time do you think that saved you from what you were doing before? Your manual
hundreds,
checkup, hundreds of hours.
hundreds of hours, hands down. Um, First off, as a soon to be 45-year-old man, I don't automate as much as I was used to be able to when I was in my 20s. So the stress level is night and day. I don't get that real quick anxious urgency because when catastrophes hit, they don't really discriminate. They just come when they come.
Yep.
We have storms coming this weekend, and they could be as limited as just getting us some rain for the grass to go green, or it could be destroying neighborhoods. So it just doesn't discriminate, doesn't really at all. So for me, it was more, the aspect of having to at 10 o'clock at night mobilize the team and the company for a campaign. So it could hit at 10 o'clock. I'm working to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning getting these things set up. So that was pretty huge. Plus the research it does as well. It does research. So what it'll do is when these storms hit too, and I forgot to mention this, it'll actually start scanning the internet. Um, it'll scan the internet and actually look for what do you call it? Like pictures and some more storm reports and all the
Hmm.
news medias that it can collaborate together.
It'll
Facebook.
fact check everything.
It really does, yeah. And it can show me like actual visual evidence, which is great when you're settling the claim because it's pretty important to be able to,
Yep.
when you have a data loss, you got to prove that you have a data loss, so it's very important there. So it kind of give you an idea how that whole thing works. OpenClaw is essentially, the body, the neck, the hands, the arms, and then you prepare it with an agent. And particularly, I've chose Claude, Opus. It's anthropic and very agentic. It's not cheap by any means. We all know if you worked with it, it's a very expensive agent.
Yep.
Um, but for what I'm getting done, it's saving me bar none on a whole nother level.
Yep.
Um, so yeah,
So we know.
yeah, so
So
it's go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so we know how it's helping you in your real life and your business. What had you want to do this transition over to working on it with crypto?
Well, it was simple because crypto needs movement and it needs a team, it needs a community. And the community doesn't really engage itself until it sees the developer actually engage and make movement. So Um, AI is here. It's going to automate everything at some point. We got to be very close to the 11th hour. I see a massive ramp up, and there's just so much you can utilize with it. So, I mean, for me, running my business, being a father and a family man. And I mean, there's only so much time in the day. So, like for instance, right now, uh, uh, which is White Claw, it autonomously runs itself and self-reflects and self-develops and comes up with great ideas. And for right now, we have it actually running our social. So throughout the
Hmm.
day, it's making posts and um, it's finding other
Influencers.
influencers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there is automation already for that, but it's not agentic. So when I say agentic, like this actually has some type of like a fluid persona. The other stuff is very just, you type out a bunch of posts and you load it up in there, you load up a bunch of content and throw it in there. This will actually change. This will actually reply to people. It actually sounds like it's slightly empathetic, and if
Hmm.
anyone's worked with Claude, I mean, it's pretty obvious that as soon as we develop Flash, we might replace humanity. Um, but yeah, so
Yep.
it for me it was just being automation and it watching. And the one thing for me was being able to reply to others, and we developed something where it can actually reply to other influencers or other profiles. Now the deal is that that doesn't sound like a big deal when there's an API key available, but the API key that's available is $10,000 a month. And I'm just a little deaf. There's no way $10,000 a month to be able to comment on Elon or Elon or Peter Steinberg or whoever that's out there that you want to, try to, interact with throughout the day. I can't always be staring at X and waiting for that notification. If you got it in time. So it was pretty no brainer to be able to go this route. So we found a way around
Hmm.
not having that API key, and that's important. Um, and when we were utilizing it, so it'll reach out and comment on other people's stuff, and it's not spammy. It's a big difference between other
Yeah.
automation. It's very agentic. That's where the Claude comes in. It's not very spammy at all. It's like, hey, it'll reply, it'll answer what they were discussing. It'll actually engage in what the topic was. So it's not gonna be like, hey guys, look at me, come over here, or you faded this, to the moon that. No, like it'll actually
Hmm.
engage in the conversation. And we've learned with X that X is they've banned it's in the rules to promote crypto. So for us, we just discuss what we got going on our project. We're not selling the crypto anymore. So if people want to come
Exactly.
and do their own research, come do your own research. That's great. We hope that they see that what we have going on here is something great and some type of tech. So I guess to pivot from there, now we can autonomously throughout the day and night, and it'll, run TikTok, it'll run Facebook, it'll post on all these things. We can even get it to jump into a Telegram, and again, not a bot. We can get it to jump into a Telegram and actually interact with different call groups, different other, cabal groups, mini cabal groups and syndicates and stuff like that are out there. So that's pretty amazing in itself. And you can't tell. It looks like it's someone that actually had logged in and made their own account and so on. So
Hmm.
um, it was really no brainer. A lot of us are busy, and you got to have activity. No activity, or it's gonna die. So now
Yeah, I
that
know.
we have this tech, we wanted to sell it. So there's no doubt there. Um, so yeah, so then we kind of took it a little step further. We entered the Solana Hackathon Coliseum Frontier. It was a bunch of projects that are Solana based essentially, and we developed a payroll system called Paychecks, and essentially we you know, paying team players, team members, and stuff like that. Um, it's quite a process. You got to save the wallets, and you got to copy paste it. Here, you just be able to go right into it. You connect with your wallet, you load in all your contributors. You load in Dave, Andy, Sal. You just load up all these names in there. You put their wallet addresses in there, and you put in what they're worth every week, and then you can batch that as a whole or individually. You could do
Hmm.
advancements and keep track of it. You can connect your reward wallets. So if it's from PumpSwap or Radium or Meteora, and if you're doing some type of commission based or performance based type of pay, that's in there as well. And what's really unique is the contributor. So let's just say it's Dave. Let's just use Dave as an example, who does let's say community development and stuff like that, and he brings people together and facilitates like spaces and stuff like that, whatever it be that we want out of his position.
Hmm.
When we pay him weekly on chain, you'll see it on chain on SoulScan that it also leaves a memo on there, and that memo will say, what he was doing, and how much he was getting paid. So it was his weekly pay as being community development. And now he has a resume wallet, so he can use that wallet and, be like, as he's looking to sell his services to other people, that, Harry, you could see my history. This team's been paying me for quite some time. And we found quite a few people in the space that, work on multiple projects and so on. So uh, it was it's really hard to get the opportunity. Like if you wanted to be a business, a small business, and you wanted to be publicly traded, you'd have to be $100 million a year operation minimally. You have to go through an IPO rollout through the
Hmm.
SEC. So now we've got a business where we're actually able to provide these things to people. That's one of them. That's one of our tech, and we submitted that to a lot of hackathon. We don't plan on winning. There's like I think over 6,000 applications, but we just wanted people to see that we're not afraid to try it, that we can actually build solutions for you, and then for us it was more eyes, more
Hmm.
reputation. It's key to see that we actually had the courage to do so, and we did. And we'll enter the next one, and we'll enter the next one, and we'll enter the next one, and so on. So we always encourage our new clients to kind of tell us, where are you struggling at?
What's the
Where's your
biggest
bottleneck at?
bottleneck? Yeah.
Yeah, what's holding you up? Let me see if I can fix that for you. So, and every one of them always come back. It's engagement. It's constant content and engagement. And I
Hmm.
mean, I don't think I've heard anything else other than that. Some larger projects, maybe it's some market making stuff like that, but really it's just engagement. And if you can, as a dev, again, you're going to save a lot of money this way too. But there's some team players that you need. There's no debate, but you can uh, actually autonomously have these things running for you 24 hours, 7 days a week. See, this is the thing in the crypto space we always talk about too is we're from the States, from America. But that doesn't mean China's not up when we're sleeping and other portions of the country. So we need that moving and catering to those times too, because a post when the Asian market's open and there's a post going on during their time of the day, more than
Hmm.
likely they'll see that up top than they will at the bottom. So that's pretty gnarly itself. And we've watched really good organic growth on our X page too. We're not growing too fast to get suspended. That's not what we're looking for. It looks organic because it really is organic. We're just using someone to help us, right?
Hmm.
So we haven't, had to buy followers, any of that type of stuff. This is people that see our content and engage in it and communicate with us. And we actually today it actually someone had found us through a call group and actually called us twice in a couple of his call channels and blasted us on X as well. And that's what it takes. And we know, as you know, in these things, we always say, eyes equal buys. That's
Hmm.
the best way you're going to get it. So our mechanism essentially is as we're selling these services, we are accumulating more supply. One, two, we're doing some buys and burns. Eventually, we're close to doing that. And yeah, so that's uh that's it in a nutshell for the most part. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? One other thing I wanted to mention about the social media manager. I mean, you mentioned the biggest bottlenecks of being a dev and everything, and this was one that I really wanted to develop because when I was deving a project, it was always so demanding to be posting all the time on X, to be communicating all the time in Telegram while simultaneously posting on X, while simultaneously hosting spaces and attending to the chart and attending to getting calls out there and just you wear so many different hats. So if we can automate and take care of one of those portions, which to me, I thought the most beneficial one would be the X, right? So having the social media manager, not only does it find those handles and hunt for those handles of those big influencers and post right at the top of their messages, we're also autonomously making posts for the X page, making memes for the X page, making memes that are relevant to the post, and engaging with everybody who engages on those posts. Right? If there's a comment, it'll like it, it'll reply to it on your post. So it's kind of like creating a raid team um, in and of itself, right? So you got all the posts that it's making autonomously, and then it's also rating on those top influencers. So that's taking care of one of those checklists, and it's getting a ton of eyes on the project when you're able to be a top comment on some of those big coals or big influencers that are on X. So that was one bottleneck that I really wanted to take care of.
It's exhausting, and
Hmm.
in the Solana token space, meme coin space, or tech space, really, uh, they move on. They're very short-sighted, and which was our whole vision outside of this whole thing, which we could segue over that here in a second. But um, we had learned that community comes and goes quick. They make that quick buck,
Oh yeah.
and move on. And I believe that we are slowly, I think we're still in the minority group, but I think we're narrowing into a majority group eventually of people that are just tired of being completely rugged or just nothing worth, like what I like about my job is I get up every day and I'm there every day, and a year turned to two. And now 21 years later, I've been doing the same job. And that's a sense of accomplishment. And I can't tell you how many of these projects have been in the past, and we just never complete them. And it's always because community development fails. We fail at the community level. We disconnect. We don't, there's no transparency. There's nobody communicating the next steps. And here we got something that is. Now,
Hmm.
not to say that there's other programs out there that can autonomously run some of your social medias, but one, they're not chasing down handles. To do so, it would be astronomically expensive. Also, that's not being ran agentically. So
Hmm.
we have some type of empathetic movement on what we do. And it's developed around just crypto. So it's not like it's for, from kitchens and baths to someone that has a blog or whatever it is, or, the other automatations built for everything.
Oh,
It's for everything. So for us to have something that's literally designed around it, it's important. So at the end of the day, White Claw is a business that we want you to come to us with your issues, what your bottlenecks are, and what
hmm.
solutions that you need. For instance, one of the things we recently started working on, or it was a merchant store, and there's a ton of merchant stores out there. Again, there's Shopify, all these different other competitors out there. But again, they're not developed around being crypto only.
Yep.
We're developed around being crypto only. It makes it a lot easier. It's, for the one firm that we're working with, one marketing firm that we're working with right now, who's worked with some very, very large projects, that was one of his concerns. The social media management one was very much, he fell in love with that real quick. He was like, yeah, this is huge. He's like, don't get me wrong, we can find humans, but what do you pay a person to sit behind X all day and make posts? White Claw makes 8, 9, 10 posts a day, makes 7, 8, 9, 10 replies a day, minimally, and then that's just to our own posts. It's replying to people, and it pivots. It'll pivot with what we got going on and whatnot. So, and it's engaging, getting people to come and actually, like for instance, someone called us twice in their channel, and he had to make a point not only to tell us that on X, but to jump in our Telegram and let us know as well. And So that was important. So, like, if we can keep the movement there, it keeps the holders. We have probably one of the most stable charts that I've seen in a long time. Um, that also went on. Okay,
Yeah.
now we pause this for a second. 1 second.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that break. I had to take a break there for a second. So, um, what we were talking about was essentially how we utilize this running the crypto project because the community, when the community dies, the project dies, and we don't want this to die, being that we run it as a business. So, um, yeah, it's been a great. I mean, we're got to be coming on 90 days now, I think, somewhere right around there. We've
Hmm.
onboarded some pretty cool people. Project's doing very well. It's got a really great floor. So what we've been finding is holders, and we ultimately kind of want to break past this whole meme coin mindset. Like we said, I think we're slowly becoming the minority majority that are tired and want to get into a project that holds. And we want
Yep.
Solana because we know Solana is going to go back to $300, right? So if you can 3x your Solana price and then also 100x
Your
your
token
token
price.
price, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? So that's kind of our mindset on it, and we're definitely Solana guys at heart, and yeah, so. Yeah, that's the deal. We want to just keep finding good holders. We want to do it differently. We want to do it organically. We're not big fan of raids. Raids have just been horrible. A lot of people don't
Hmm.
understand that you get shit. This is why everyone's accounts are getting suspended and shadow banned. It's not, it's annoying. First off, people that have posts out there getting spammed are annoying, and it just doesn't work. And X, if people paid attention, actually this time last year is when they suspended being able to solicit any crypto project, it doesn't matter. If you're going to, I believe there's an application process, but and that's got very fine tooth screening. I don't imagine that
Hmm.
any small project's going to get through with a very low market cap or low capital. So which is not an option for us. And we decided that we want to do it differently. We don't want to depend on Coles. They have a place, and they have a place with degens, and there's other good Coles out there that potentially
Hmm.
we might utilize, but just right now that big quick pump and dump just doesn't fit for us. We want people to come in. We've been bringing that wave of holders in. We came in, we sat at
Yeah.
12K market cap for a while, then we moved up to 30K market cap for a while, then we moved up to 40K market cap for a while. And then we started seeing people seeing us cruising there for about 30, 45 days. And then when we got to that point there, boom, that's when it exploded. We went all the way up to 200 and we came back down to 160. And our tokenomics makes sense. You can stake with our platform. You can stake your tokens, and it has right now for a very short period of time, but phenomenal yield rates for locking up your supply with us. And that's also another service that we offer other projects as
Yep.
well. We can
We could
onboard their own
create that.
staking. Yep,
Yeah,
we can
we
create
can
that
create
for
that
them.
for other projects. Yeah.
Yeah, and do it substantially cheaper too. So, and it's more integrated in theirs. And when we get done with it, it is theirs. The other
Hmm.
platforms out there where you can pretty much white label using theirs, and but you don't own it. You don't have control of that vault. You don't have control of any of that stuff. We can give you your own where you can control it from all aspects of how it works. So you have your own staking. You're not actually on offboarding it to a third party that holds it that you have no control over. So that was kind of
Hmm.
my thing too. So and it's a lot easier when we do the web development with you that's for us to be able to integrate that in there with you. So anyhow, so you can stake, and me as the dev, I own just a little over 50%. Um, as a team in total, we're over 80%. And there's this big thing out there that when a dev owns a lot, that he could potentially hurt the project, and it's undebatable. There's no doubt that you have that opportunity to do so. But also, if you don't have supply control, You can let bad people in the chart and they can manipulate it. And that's not good either. So there's a yin and a yang to it. Being we're not a degen play, and degen plays is where you got to really worry about a dev having a large amount of supply. But
Hmm.
now you got to have that supply control or you don't own it. I wouldn't, I mean, I got to own at least half of this. The other half we can let the other holders own. But to own it, then you actually truly own it, own it. You know, this is my company, this is my product, this is, you know, my brand, and you know, it's important that I have some type of ownership of it, and I do. And then the rest of the team is, you know, you can look at them um as the you know, holding the remaining
Share.
35% shareholders, yeah, board members, you know, here they are, and they're and some pretty solid guys too. These are great people that we've met over the last 15, 18 month journey in the wild Solana space, you know. So
Hmm.
really glad to have those guys. And but yeah, it's key. You got to have that supply control. So some people can get deterred from it, and they might have this post-traumatic rug syndrome, and that's
Oh yeah.
understandable. I don't blame them, you know. But for us, it's and I'll make the money on rewards eventually. It'll there's money for the dev to be made without having to touch the supply, and some of it's just in the social media marketing. So doing some of the services that we offer. And
Exactly.
and we've locked up 20% of it right now. And it comes unlocked soon, but we'll just relock it again. We'll probably vest it this time into a vesting schedule. This way, you know, there's no urgency for the holders to go, uh-oh, it's coming unlocked
Hmm.
this week. Is he going to dump it all? You know, so on. We'll get rid of that whole urgency. And like I said, I understand the anxious and anxiety behind it, but it's got to have that supply control. No supply
Hmm.
control, you don't own it. And we got, like I said, we're trying to defy what the other people think. That got to get past that. And I believe that we could be the frontier of showing people that one, AI is, you know, we can has a lot of solutions for crypto now. There's no doubt. And we want to provide AI solutions to people. We want to run it like a business, treat it like a business where it's making money. The deflationary mechanics are phenomenal, and I can't wait to introduce that to the project. That's coming soon, hopefully sooner than later, but it's coming. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
and right now we just kind of playing out the market. It's just been very goofy out there. You know, 1 minute Bitcoin's, you know, soaring, and 1 minute it's down, and crypto's doing what crypto does, and it's crypto world is what I say. But we're one tweet away from it being dumped, or we're one tweet away from it soaring 30, 40, 50, 60%. So it's pretty wild, like how crypto moves up and down. So we've
Hmm.
made it a point to just kind of just take our time, find the holders, look for investors. I've got
Yep.
some people in real life that want to get into the project. I got to go over and teach them how to take Solana and where to get it from an exchange and move it to your Phantom or Jupiter wallet and put it in there. And they're looking at it as investors, you know, so on. So that's the type of
Yeah.
people we're looking for. We're looking for in real life investors and holders. And our team, we just recently said, look, find one holder a week. You know, it doesn't have to be a lot, $20, $50, $100, just one holder a week. Let us do the rest. The business is working itself. We've got a great reputation with some of the clients that we have now. We're providing a great service already. Um, and yeah, a lot to look forward to. And you got to run these things like a business. And that's what people want. They want to know they can park their money. And we're learning with a lot of degens, especially some of the older degens, like, you know, me and you know, some of the other ones we work with all the way up in their 50s and 60s. There's a lot of guys that are like, you know, the meme coins a couple of years ago were a little different before Pump Fund. Pump Fund kind of really spun the whole thing out of control. Let's be
Hmm.
realistic. You would see maybe 20 launches a week. You throw 3 to 500 at each one of those, and one of them would 70x, and it didn't matter. The other ones weren't even. I mean, maybe five or six of the other remaining ones would maybe go up 10, 15, 20%, or maybe you would lose 5, 10, 15% of each, and you pull out of the one and DCA on the other, and there was like this whole little process. And now I can't be in one more than one project at a time because
No.
it's
1,000 launched a minute.
it's a nightmare when you go to like right now, and especially with the way it's community. If I buy a certain amount of your supply and a certain amount of someone else's supply and this person's supply, then we have bubble map issues, and people see that like it's turned into this whole weird thing, and like all these different things that are going on, and it's just so much to keep up with. What'll work is time. Time will work great. You know, when you look at our bubble maps and you see that we have 50% clustered in a spot somewhere, it'll make sense to you when you see it 90, 120, 180, 8 months, 9 months, a year. It'll make sense why it's like that. Oh, this is the team. They transparent way of having all their supply, control, so on. So but yeah, there's just so much variables now in meme coins that it's just unbelievable. I'm actually shocked it's not regulated.
Oh, it's
And I do
coming.
believe it's coming. There's gonna be a reckoning,
Yep.
and when that time comes, I want them to be able to audit my books and it looks good, right? We just
Hmm.
want to run it like a business. We're running like a business, see where it goes from there. I could tell you that we have the floor to about 50K. Everything else after that's believers. Um, we're gonna hold on to our supply, and we're not going anywhere with it. And we keep going out doing the spaces and interacting and cross collabing and
Hmm.
cross pollinating with different communities. And yeah, I'm
Yep.
pretty happy with the project and team. Very happy about it.
Yeah, and that's the big step right now is building that community and networking and finding more believers and more holders. Just getting the name out there, getting the word out there, making videos and interviews and things like this, like what we're doing, hosting spaces or attending spaces, shaking hands and meeting people in real life, and getting real investors and real people to get on board. Because like you said, it's a business. You're a business owner. I'm a business owner. Several on the on the team, several others on the team are also business owners. We have a lot of experience. We have a lot of knowledge in this space and in real life running businesses, coming together and running this like a business. We have all these different roles and parts that everyone's playing on this. And it started off really as, how can we get this to benefit our businesses, right? Like how can we more efficiently run our lives and run our businesses? And then it transitioned to, how can we get this to more efficiently and more effectively run a project, right? So we did the first step was actually implementing it onto our real life jobs and our real life careers in our businesses. And then it transitioned to the crypto space once we had that niche already down. Once we knew what we were doing on the business side, we figured out what the bottlenecks were on the crypto side and how we can address that. And it's coming together beautifully. So, now it's in this phase where we're basically, like similar to a business, right? We're doing, PR, we're doing hiring, so to say. We're finding
Mhm.
more holders and more believers to invest into us. So we're
Absolutely.
finding that we're finding the investors right now, and that's what we're doing. And um, it's only going to grow from here. It's really exciting
Yeah,
stuff.
and we were looking pretty further out. I mean, down the road. I mean, our vision was, and we've been talking about this for some time, is I can't really, I don't have that, that crystal globe where I can see it, but I feel like we got like a little plateau, maybe a little spike coming here this summer. I think it'll kind of flatline through the fall. And we might
Hmm.
grab another little mini bull run, which is you see in memes and Solana, it always seems to be between November and January. And I'm hoping we can capture a pretty good floor between now and then. My goal is just a little bit at a time, so let's get this thing to sit at 200 for a while. Let's get this thing to sit at 300 for a while. Let's get this thing to sit at 500 for a while, and
It'll
bring
go
some
from
type of
there.
it'll take some
Oh
it's
yeah.
going to take us a little bit of time, but we just keep doing what we do. And the thing is that it's running itself. If I got to put a 12-hour day into my business, and if the family's sick, or you just want to put time in the family or whatever, you want to go on vacation, this thing's running itself. I think it's just important.
Hmm.
And I've always had mixed feelings between like the telegrams, the discords, or needing one, not needing one. And I think it has its place for sure. But for me, when I first got into crypto, for instance, um, I bought XRP. And I never had to just sit there and stare at it. Like rug didn't make sense. And this is a true story. And kind of back up a little bit. I got into, and I said this before, like I was born in '81, and I came from the electronic boom era where we went from the Beta machine, the 8 track to DVD to the laptop, from DOS to to Mac and all those great things, and to streaming now, to cell phones, to smartphones. And I got lucky to
Hmm.
be in that boom tech in the late '90s, early 2000s, and got to utilize that. And I remember having these uncles that are like, "Oh, I'm never going to touch that stuff. It's going to ruin the world." And who knows if they're right or wrong, but relevantly, if you didn't have it, you were getting left in last place when it came to the working world. And those guys struggled. I mean, I love my uncles, but they struggled because they didn't want to embrace the change. And when crypto came, I was ignorant. I acted like my uncles. I was like, man, if it doesn't smell like green cash, I don't want anything to do with it. If I can't touch it and turn a ring into it or a necklace out of it or whatever, if I can't do any of those type of things, it has no monetary value to me. Well,
Yep.
learning how our central banking system works over the years, gotten a little wiser, a little bit more independent in my politics, and I can see that it's a no-brainer where we got to be at in crypto. It's taking over. It will take over. And 20 years from now, we will be a predominantly a crypto-based community, society, financial system. And I missed a big chunk of it. I didn't really get into it to 2020 and bought some XRP. You fast forward to 2024, I have a friend that says, "Hey man, you need to buy this coin." And I'm like, "What is it?" And he's like, it's Purple Pepe. It's at like, I want to say really low, under 100K market cap. And it was a CTO, I think, at this time. He said, "You need to get in, go pull 2 grand out." And I went over and met him at his house. He taught me how to get on crypto.com, move the 2000 out, and download a Phantom wallet. And this is where I'm going to send it. And as soon as we went to buy it, and it said, "All right, we're putting a 28-day hold on it." Well, real quick, I learned what that meant in the crypto world. That might have just been 10 years because Purple Pepe ran to $150 million and I missed it. So that could have been one of the best plays I've ever made. Could have been life-changing money, and I missed it. I was like, "Wow, that's crazy." So the money comes unlocked, 28 days later, and he says, "Hey, the same guy, buy this coin. It's called Don't Buy This Coin." And I reluctantly bought it, and I remember they made a nice little bling. Phantom makes bling, and it went through. And this is no joke. Within 30 seconds, I watched it go from 2000 or $2,500, somewhere right around there, all the way down to about 150, $200. I was like, "Oh my God, did I do something wrong?" And I remember I called this guy. I said, "Hey, did I do something wrong?" And he's like, "No, no, the dev rugged it." And I'm like, "What is a rug?" And he's like, "Well, that's where he takes all the stuff." I mean, I must have drilled him. I'm like, he's like, "Don't worry, we're going to CTO this thing." And I'm like, "What do you mean? What's a CTO?" "It's a community takeover." And I'm like, "What is a community takeover? This is insane. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me." Like, so I thought it was just wild. That was my entry into it. I don't know why I hung
Hmm.
around, but maybe just out of definitely piqued my interest for
Curiosity.
sure. Yeah, curiosity always kills the cat, right? So I stayed in that project. He said, "Hold, we'll push it." And he did. He pushed it back up, so it wasn't a complete loss. I never really got 100% there, but wasn't $100, that's for sure. I'm like, when he did tell me CTO, and right from the beginning, I immediately I was like, "What do you mean CTO? So you own the coin now? Like, how do you own the coin? How do you own the name, the rights?" Like, it's like, "Well, no one really technically owns it unless you buy like a certain amount of supply." And I'm like, "I'm trying to figure this out." And like understanding liquidity pools, and I'm like, I'm just so confused. Like, where's all the money? You got a $1.4 million market cap, and you got an $80,000 liquidity pool. Like, I'm trying to do the math and understand impact fees and gas fees, like all these things that just were never. I was told just transfer it and buy this, buy this Solana and download it. And when I bought Solana, it was at $290. So
Hmm.
I mean, we went as low as I think $60, from then to now. So we're back to 90, which is I think is great. Maybe 80s. I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a day or two. So
Yeah.
I'm sure somewhere close to 90. But yeah, man, it's been a wild ride. And I got into another project called IMG, Infinite Money Glitch, I bought a couple tokens with some other plays that were some community people on Facebook, and they held all right. They were kind of flatline, then they slowly just decline. Eventually, I'm like, well, there went that couple $100, and but I met some cool friends, so like I was
Mm-hmm.
able to justify it. So but I got into a token called Infinite Money Glitch, and first rewards token where it airdrops you rewards, and particularly Solana. And I bought a ton of it. And I mean, I immediately made, I mean, I made 17 grand on it. It was awesome. It was, now I'm playing with the house's money, and I was making, a few $100 a day and rewards at one point. That's how much I had in supply and how much volume was running through that. That didn't last long. Eventually by the time I faded out of it, I was maybe 150, 200 a month in rewards. And then I FOMO'd out of it because I was being told that people were going to airdrop in between there, and then we would take it, and they would drain our wallets, and I kind of got nervous and kind of worked my way out of there. And what I had originally, the first amount of supply, I think I owned over like 8 or 9% of it originally. It was something
Oh
ridiculous.
my
I bought a ton
God.
of it. It was a ton of it. And again, I didn't know that like you had to keep your wallet like this whole
Yeah.
percent of keeping things under 3%, 2%. I didn't know what that meant. And I bought a ton of it, and then I FOMOed out of it immediately because all over Facebook, everyone's like, "It's a scam! It's a scam! That those airdrops, don't sell them. You're going to get drained." And I'm like, "All right, this is wild." So I originally sold all my supply and separated everything into multiple wallets and like did little test sales and see if it worked. And by the time I got back in, it was a lot less. I bought in so much less the second round, but I was still able with the rewards, the 10, 15, $20 a day that I was making. And it all caught up to somewhere around 17K after that whole, mission, learning how to buy dips and
Mm-hmm.
learning what FOMO felt like, that whole thing. So yeah, that's been the meme coin space. And it was kind of fun for a little bit when you found like your 5, 6 X's. And then really from 2025 summer to getting the rest of the year was like eventually by the time I got to November, December, I'm like, this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm better off just leaving it in all coins. This sucks. Like, and just the temper would run to here. I've watched a lot of good
Yeah.
friends separate because of this space, and watched some good friendships come together too. There's no debate there. I mean, as friends, if you can survive this madness, you can survive anything. I haven't been through divorces as rough as some of the stuff that I've dealt with in this space, So but yeah, we knew a while ago, like everyone's always like, "Hey, let's build this project, let's do this project, and let's, we'll hold forever." And we tried a handful of those, and they never really lasted. And eventually, it was like as soon as the AI automation came out and OpenClaw, and we grabbed that white meta and we added that claw to it. And I'm a huge OpenClaw fan. We had to go automation. The automating your business is life changing, and I'm loving it. And I've helped other people with their businesses set up their own autonomous
Yep.
workflows, and it's
Exactly.
important. And you took to it really well, and a few other people around us took to it really well, and it was a no brainer. So I know
Mm-hmm.
every day. I mean, we probably cook after working our 50, 60 hour work week. I mean, we probably come home and cook another 20, 30 hours a week just on this because that's how addicted we are to it. I mean, it's a great, it's life changing. And when Elon made that whole um, comment that about Social Security that we won't need it, don't worry. AI is going to allow us to retire, but he never reiterated afterwards. Everyone was kind of like, another one of his Elon, things, like he's not an
Mm-hmm.
idiot. So we're just trying to connect the stars and like, where's he going with this? And it wasn't until I started playing into OpenClaw and checking out some of its other competitors, if it's Hermes or Nemo Claw and those other ones out there. So they're yeah, it's a no-brainer. Everybody should be getting into it. It's life changing, and it's just no doubt it's life changing. So. And it makes
Mm-hmm.
vibe coding so much easier too. So like if you're looking to
Oh
vibe
my
code
God.
out
Yeah.
stuff, yeah, it's just ridiculous. You can think of it, you can develop it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. So I'm pretty excited to see where OpenClaw goes. That's important to me at the moment for projects. Like, I do have a couple of my little DGen plays on the side, but ultimately I'm just here to sell a service, kind of sell the story, and I just want to build something that's going to last. And time will be our friend. We'll get to 3 months, will turn to 6 months, to 9 months, to a year, and we're just going to keep getting those holders. And as
Hmm.
people are getting rugged and burnt out in these community coins, we're finding them every day right now. I mean, people are at their wit ends. They want to put their money somewhere safe. You don't go through this when you're on Uphold, or you're on Robinhood, you don't go through this on Crypto.com worrying about a rug or anything. There's dips and there's ups and downs and stuff like that in the market, but nothing
Hmm.
like putting $700 in something and waking up in the morning with $1.
Hmm.
It's horrible. I don't know why you would want to play in that space. So, and I don't want to live on the raids to make ends meet and stuff like that. It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't work. It used to in the day before you were shadow banned, you would run raids and 5, 6 buys would come in, but raid
Yeah.
days are over. Now you can hire, third party, third world country people to do it for next to nothing. It looks spammy. The votes are spammy now. They're nothing's organic anymore. Nothing's real. Everything is fake. It's just horrible. So right now and we discussed this. We'll keep doing these conversations and we'll keep doing these spaces with other communities and keep growing it. So pretty excited
Hmm.
about this whole project.
Yeah, there's a lot more to come, and that's the brilliant part about all this is that it keeps evolving and it keeps adding to it. We keep perfecting it. We keep finishing tech and adding on a new one, and it just is going to keep going and going.
Yeah, I invite anybody to come talk to us. Tell us what you need. We will build it.
Hmm.
It don't matter what it is. If it's from games, if it's to automation, if it's to a web, whatever it is, we can build it for you. And
Yep.
and we'll build it for you, and you'll own it. It'll be yours. You have full control over it, and it's huge. So, and we could, not that it's on my docket, but we've been in multiple projects where we know this one's a slow roll and there's some meta. Maybe we want to do a project like this right now as well. And there's just no way you could do it without automation. So if we wanted another project or other people that are in projects that want second or thirds, I mean, we're familiar with a guy where you own a certain amount of this one, you get early entries on this one and this one and this one. He needs
Hmm.
automation. He just doesn't realize it yet, but he needs automation. And I'm sure you know who I'm talking about, but he definitely needs automation. It's for sure. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, this was a great conversation and
Yeah.
uh yeah, absolutely.
First of many. Yeah. We'll be back and post another video like this probably next week, and
Yeah,
catch our
next
spaces throughout the week.
yeah, next week we should probably show everybody how Paychex works.
Yeah, we'll do
We
some
can do a little
some
demo of
product
that
demos.
and then yeah, maybe some SMM and show people that as well. And we can
Hmm.
show the staking and things like that. So we'll maybe do those in 3 different segments, kind of give everybody a little piece to bite onto. So
There you go.
yeah, this was great, man.
Cool.
All right,
Well,
man.
thank you.
Thank you.